All right, kids, 3, 2, 1. Once again, live from the crazy Gray Owl, the sweeping view here of the Gray Owl as we sweep out into downtown Norman, Boomtown Norman here, going nutso. We just gave you one report on the Confluence. This is Energy Boom 101, the confluence of crude and cannabis. And we just gave you one dispatch that focused primarily on cannabis and the day's trading activity in the four-leaf clover. And now we're going to switch over to the crude end of the Confluence and give you an update on what's happening. There's some great news. We got a Symphony of Shale update. We'll get to that eventually. But for now, we're just going to go through the latest and greatest in some Oklahoma City oil companies. So we do that by grabbing the Daily Oklahoman, the most amazing paper ever. And we have a crack team of forensic investigators that actually open the page and then just actually sort of look at the headline and then tell you what's going on. So in the Confluence, from the crude end, let's give you an update with the bubble and buzz of the boom, the Confluence in the background. As you can sort of see here, this would probably be a good shot. This would be a good shot as we tell you about, first off, Sandridge sells Gulf assets. So let's give you an update on Sandridge Energy up there in Action City, Oklahoma City. Founded by Tommy Ward. He was moved along less than a year ago. He's now getting ready to uncork, I think it's Tapstone Energy. But Sandridge, he assembled enormous assets in the Mississippi line, so it's a pure play on the Mississippi line. A couple hedge funds are getting into it, placing their bets. But we'll go ahead and read you what they have to say here. Sandridge Energy has closed the sale of its Gulf of Mexico assets. So the Gulf of Mexico assets were bought by Tom Ward a few years back, and it sort of shocked Wall Street and spooked them a little. But so now they're selling those assets. The company announced Fieldwood Energy will pay $750 million, which is about what Sandridge paid for it when they bought it. For Sandridge's holdings in the Gulf and along the Gulf Coast. They're also taking on a $370 million in abandonment liabilities. Sandridge gets to retain 2% royalty interest in certain exploration prospects. The Oklahoma City-based company expects to use proceeds from the sale to fund its mid-continent drilling projects, which would be the Mississippi line, where it has anywhere from 1 to 2 million acres. And I quote, "The sale of the Gulf assets allows us to heighten our focus on the mid-continent, where we are leveraging our established competitive advantages to build real value for our shareholders," CEO James Bennett said. And I'm going to go ahead and take this at face value as being pretty damn accurate assessment of what's going on. Sounds like Sandridge sold their Gulf of Mexico assets to get a bunch of cash to redeploy into their Mississippi lime assets, where, according to CEO James Bennett, they have established competitive advantages. What are those? One, they've got a very large position. Two, I think they understand that the Mississippi lime has a water, so they've got the water disposal system going. And I'm sure there's other competitive advantages that I have no clue what they mean, but if we could ever get CEO James Bennett on the show, I'm sure he'd love to come down here and talk about the Confluence. That's, I'm sure, first on his list. Anyway, big update there on Sandridge. We still consider them a great Oklahoma City company to watch as they continue to be a pure play on the Mississippi line. And they should be able to unfurl and provide shareholder value for years to come, I bet. And they'll probably do a lot of great for Oklahoma City. And at this point, we should also say, and Tom Ward should be recognized for assembling those assets. And there it is, Sandridge assets. Now, Williams Company to add 2 directors. We can't keep up with everything here in the oil patch. Williams Company's out of Tulsa, old school royalty, Tulsa Oil Energy Company, recently spun off into Williams Company, which does basically their pipeline, and then WPX, which is their exploration and production company, and they're an interesting little company. We're going to try and follow them. Let's see what else is going on in here. Unit! Hey, we love Unit. We wanted to talk about them. So Unit reported earnings today. Unit's an interesting little company. They're out of Tulsa. They're an energy company that is what you would call vertically integrated. Think of it this way. They have 3 big segments. They're not so much big, but they've got 3 segments that make them money. Most energy companies are either one or the other of these 3 segments. Unit has decided to basically be a vertically integrated, small vertically integrated company that has all 3 units. Here it is in the Oklahoman. We're going to read you about it. We're going to also let you know that Unit has a significant shareholder in the George Kaiser Family Foundation. George Kaiser out of a big oilman, legendary oilman out of Tulsa. apparently I heard recently, by the way, was getting ready to put together a hell of a redevelopment along the river in Tulsa. So the state's booming. We're going to do a quick swing out here so you can see the boomtown Norman. I always sort of like that shot. And we're going to continue reading you this incredible report here on Unit. Unit has 3 segments. Think of them in this way. They have exploration and production, which means they go out and try and find the oil. And that gives them a significant percentage of their revenue. We actually did a breakdown on Unit. If you're ready for this, it's the most amazing breakdown we've ever done. And we hired out 25 Wall Street analysts and paid them $63 billion to put together a piece of notebook paper and break down Unit. So there you can see it. Unit exploration. As far as the 3 segments, you have exploration and production, which accounts for 48% of their revenue. This was in 2013. You have the rig rental, which means they have a new program they're building out called Boss Rigs. Helmerich & Payne has Flex Rigs. Unit has Boss Rigs. And they're that accounts for 31% of their revenue, but not the Boss Rigs. That's a brand new rig that they're just starting to build out, and we'll discuss that. And then that's the second area of revenue. And then they have the midstream. Now think of that as pipelines that gather and process natural gas and move it along. So that accounts for 21% of that accounted for 21% of their revenue. The rig rentals accounted for 31% of their revenue, and the exploration and production accounted for 48% of Unit's revenue in 2013. And they're basically, now let's get back to their quotes here. Just like the CEO of Sandridge had some quotes, we're gonna hear from Unit. And I'm just gonna read you what the old boy has to say. Larry Pinkston, CEO. Production in the fourth quarter increased 5%. Overall production 18%. Blah blah blah. Here we go. We are pleased with the performance of all 3 of our segments and are excited about their continued growth opportunities. Each segment is operating under key initiatives intended to create additional shareholder value for years to come. Yeah, I could see that with Unit. 3 segments. We'll delve into those. Here's exploration and production. They operate in 2 areas. The mid-continent. Think of that as Oklahoma, basically. Well, that's not true. Think of it as the heartland of the United States. There you go. So they've got the mid-continent, and then they got the upper Texas Gulf Coast, which is the Wilcox Play. But the mid-continent's the one that we're concerned with. The Granite Wash is in the Texas Panhandle and the western Oklahoma. But with Unit, it's all Texas Panhandle. That's one of their areas that they drill in. They've got 3 rigs there. Their new Boss rig, the brand new first new Boss rig, they're hoping to unfurl in March in the Granite Wash. Within the Granite Wash, they've got the Buffalo Wallow field, and I'm dead serious about the name of that there, the Buffalo Wallow field, where they have already drilled 9 wells, and here in the next 90 days, they'll let you know what those production numbers are. They've also got the second area in the Mid-Continent they drill is in the Marmaton play, which is in Beaver County, Oklahoma, in the Panhandle. They've got 2 rigs up there. They've got a 75% working interest in those they're drilling. They've also got the Cleveland play, I think that's in Oklahoma, where they have 1 rig going. They've got the Mississippi line play in south central Kansas. You got to love that. You got south central LA where they're banging, and you get south central Kansas where they're drilling the Mississippi line. There's 2 rigs out there. And then they're also happy to announce, check this out, kids, breaking news, Anadarko Basin play, a brand new play in the Anadarko Basin of Oklahoma. And they have 1 rig out there, and they've got 25,000 net acres, and that could be quite a little popper for them. Let's see. Well, we're gonna see if we can't keep up with them, and we'll keep up with them using this crazy thing called the newspaper. So prepare yourself. We're not even at 10 minutes into the hour on this dispatch, so we got plenty of time. This is a breakout session on Unit. The George Kaiser Family Foundation has a significant investment. That alone is a reason to follow it. And the big news in the mid-continent, of course, is this new play they've found in the Anadarko Basin, and they'll release results, I'm sure, at some point. And that's their first segment of Unit. Now, the second segment of Unit where they make money is they rent out their rigs. Now, we just told you about the Boss rig activity that's happening, but that's really just getting underway. They've got a bunch of rigs that are not Boss rigs that have been around forever, and they got 69 of the rigs running right now. They want to sell some of their older and larger rigs. They specifically want to sell the 500 and 600 horsepower mechanical rigs, that there's probably a lot of room for that somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe shallow drilling in Oklahoma, maybe down in Mexico, but we'd sure like to bring together buyers and sellers there. And they don't even know we're trying to do that here at the Transparent Barrel, but what the hell. And then these Boss rigs, here's the update. It's a brand new rig that they're unfurling. Think of Helmerich & Payne's Flex rigs. Unit has their Boss rigs. The first rig is going to go into the granite wash. They got a second and a third rig already basically under contract to go up to the Bakken, and they hope to have 6 rigs operating in the field this year in 2014 to demonstrate what they can do, and then they'll probably want to build a bunch more in 2015. They're also going to refurbish a bunch of their 750 to 1,000 horsepower rigs for a lot of activity they see in the Mississippi line. They also are expanding into the Permian because there's apparently demand for their rigs in the Permian. So you can see what's going on here. Unit uses their own rigs when they explore and produce, as well as renting out their rigs, as well as building new rigs. And then, of course, we finally have the midstream. Not nearly as exciting, but worth mentioning because it gets a fifth of their revenue. And they've got a gathering system called the Pittsburgh Mills system in Pennsylvania. They got the Reno gathering system in Kansas, and they have the Bellman gathering system in north central Oklahoma, which may be named after Henry Bowman. You never know. That's all we're going to tell you about in the crude oil sector of this dispatch, because we're at 11 minutes into it. I know you're begging for mercy, and we want to give you a little oil patch jazz as we leave you, because we're really weaving an awful lot of the cotton candy here today, folks. The confluence between crude oil and cannabis is not only connecting gushers and consciousness, one gusher at a time. We're making up slogans now, but we're also illuminating the chasm between brain and bean. We think we can do that one gusher at a time. And there was something else we're going to do, but we can't remember. We do want to knock you out, though, on Oil Patch Jazz, and we've got time to go nutso, so get ready for it. Bip, here it is. These are simply the oil logs from the newspaper. And we're going to try and get in yesterday's, because that was pretty fun. I think it was yesterday's. Yeah, yesterday's. Check this out. Yesterday's, Tuesday, February 25th. Get ready right out of the bat. Alfalfa County. Boom, mid-states, 72 barrels a day. Not bad. I'm going to pop my ear, so hang on. All right, live TV, you can do that. Caddo County. Here's a good one. King Energy, 23 barrels. Another one, Kirkpatrick Oil. That's probably the old legendary Kirkpatrick Oil Company, Oklahoma City oil royalty. 111 barrels a day. Ain't nothing to sneeze at there. Cimarron County. Mid-Con, nothing to report. Grant County, Devon, nothing to report there. Kirkpatrick Oil, 147 a day, ain't nothing to sneeze at. Logan County, here's Big Devon, 656 barrels a day. Boom. Pretty damn good there. Major County, BRG, 2 barrels a day. Noble County, Devon, 91 barrels a day. More Devon, 97 barrels. More Devon, 108. We're continuing. More Devon, 57 barrels. And then finally more Devon. No, hell no, we're still going. 126 barrels, and even more Devon, 78 barrels. So a lot of wells drilled in Noble County. Looks like they're averaging about 120 barrels a day. Payne County, you got Devon up there getting 15, so it's going to take some time, but they'll uncork it, trust me. Pottawatomie County, great name, Transpro Energy, 38 barrels a day, nothing wrong with that one. Roger Mills County, check this out. 2 wells by Sampson Resources, big Oklahoma private oil company, 511 barrels a day and 690 barrels a day. Boom! Roger Mills, Western Oklahoma, probably pretty good money makers there. Seminole County, that's a legendary old oil field. That was sort of back in the 20s and 30s. That's Seminole, Oklahoma, Seminole County. You got New Dominion out there hitting 32 barrels a day. Stevens County, you got Citation popping it at 4. They only went down 1,200 feet, so... Tulsa County, that's Tulsa, Oklahoma. Get ready for this, folks. This is unbelievable. Black Dot Oil, 0.25 barrels a day. 1/4 of a barrel a day, which is very similar to 1/4 of an ounce of cannabis, but this is 1/4 of a barrel of crude. And Black Dot's got it going. They're nutso right there, black and white, Black Dot. And then we'll finish it out with Woods County. Redland Resources got a nice little gusher out there, 85 barrels a day. Only went down 5,000 feet to get it. Intent to drill. The only thing I really want to tell you, because we're getting close to 15 minutes, is that I think EOG Resources, which is Enron, is going to be drilling in Grady County, which is where Continental's drilling, so we'll be able to see some good results there. I would bet within 6 months to a year you see Enron wells that are probably really, really big. And Continental might damn well be really big too, but it'll be fun to see. Enron, by the way, before we get to the 15-minute mark, has experimented with fracking, and they're using short and fat laterals and getting enormous returns on it. So let's keep your ears open to EOG Resources, Enron, and see what they're doing. We're going to spin out. We're going to let you go here. We're close to 15 minutes. This is probably Dispatch 94. and this is an update on unit drilling 321 boom.